Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Detectives make quick work in detaining a person of interest in a woman's murder at an upscale mall in Rolling Hills Estates. Now, that mall murder has shoppers on edge after the woman was found stabbed in the parking garage of the posh Promenade Mall.
Here is the latest developments today. Security camera images lead homicide detectives to a man who was seen near that crime scene. A coroner's office tells us they have identified the victim as a Rancho Palos Verdes resident. She was stabbed, they say, multiple times and her throat cut.
Well, we have team coverage, including CBS2's Michelle Gili, who has more on the victim.
But tonight we begin with CBS2's Dave Lopez with more on the investigation.
Well, Jeff, standing in front of the Lumita substation here, about 6 miles from where this horrific murder took place, the person of interest, the homeless man, described as a homeless man, no name given. He is a person of interest only. He is being detained, however, on charges unrelated to this murder. So I've been told he's not going anywhere. He's being questioned. He's cooperative, but so far, no charges filed for the murder.
For what? For calling the police and threatening my life.
Is this the man, described by detectives as homeless, who viciously stabbed and killed 66-year-old Susan Leeds as she was in her car in the parking structure of the Promenade Mall in the exclusive area of Rolling Hills Estates?
Ouch! Oh, you broke my arm.
He was wearing the same red hat and clothes, and detectives say he bears a strong resemblance to the man pictured here, taken from a security camera that detectives released last night, identified by detectives as, quote, a person of interest in this brutal stabbing.
You would have asked me to lift up my leg and put it in the car.
He was picked up this morning at this Harbor City strip mall, 6 miles from where the murder took place, and he's being detained as, quote, a person of interest. And he's also well known to some business owners in this area.
He just ran inside the restaurant, and he come in and he lied about, somebody sent me pick up the change and food. For $20, I need change. So we just want to get away from him. We give him fried rice and let him go.
Another business owner told me he would run into this donut shop, steal donuts, and the tip jar, yelling and muttering to himself all the while. This is the area of the parking lot where Miss Leeds was found in her white SUV Mercedes. No one has told detectives that they heard any screaming, saw any kind of struggle, anything unusual, a man who might appear to be homeless running away. Nothing.
I'm stunned.
Shocking. Never thought this happened here.
What happened in this parking lot has indeed stunned not only the people who shop here, but this entire community.
Somebody was affluent at a nice mall, middle of the day. It was pretty scary.
And now the question, will this homeless man become more than just a person of interest? Again, no name being given. He is being charged. He is being held on unrelated charges. As for the murder weapon, specifically the knife, that has not been found. Back in the studio.
And Dave, Susie Leeds is being remembered as a giving person who was loved by many people. CBS 2's Michelle Gili is live in San Pedro, where Leeds used to volunteer. Michelle.
As a matter of fact, Pat, when I showed the ladies here inside of the Toberman Neighborhood Center, the ladies who work in the food pantry, these blood oranges, they knew exactly who I was talking about. Susie Leeds would come here often with bags of oranges and a big smile.
I'm sorry. She was a good woman.
Shirley Moore broke down in tears today when she found out that the generous woman she called Cheeks had been murdered in her car in a parking structure in Rolling Hills Estates. 66-year-old Susie Leeds would pick bags of blood oranges from the trees in front of her home and donate them for hungry families who visit this San Pedro food pantry.
The blood red oranges, because she used to bring these by the bags here to Toberman, and we would give them out to our families and to our homeless. And she would always tease us about, Shirley, don't eat too many.
The irony that Leeds, who delivered fresh fruit for the homeless to enjoy, may have been killed by a transient, was not lost on her next-door neighbor.
It's ironic, right? Yes, I agree.
All day long, Joey Zanotti answered reporters' questions about the Rancho Palos Verdes wife and mother.
She was just a very nice person, very sweet. And, you know, everybody in the neighborhood enjoyed her and loved her.
Susie Leeds' stepson, Fred, carried sandwiches from his parents' hilltop home, saying he wanted to share them with members of the media covering his family's devastating story. He is grateful for the job law enforcement has done up to this point and was willing to speak about that.
We're very grateful for their hard work and for their kindness in this very difficult time for us. And we believe that they're going to work very hard to make sure that this does not happen to any other families.
It has been a few months since the pantry workers here have seen Susie Leeds carrying in oranges. And what they told me this afternoon is if the Leeds family would allow them, they would go up to her trees and pick the oranges to continue her tradition of giving. Live in San Pedro, back to you.
Michelle, thank you. Let's go to some breaking news right now in Whittier, where detectives just arrested the relative of a woman whose body was found in the backyard of a home. Officers raced to Stardale Street just after noon today when they got the call.
Now that's where they found the victim covered in blood. Detectives have not released her name, the suspect's name, or how they're related.
Well, the couple at the center of the House of Horrors case, accused of starving and shackling their children, in court today. Prosecutors fired 8 new charges of perjury against the father, David Turpin. They say that he lied about homeschooling his children. Turpin signed paperwork with the state saying the children were getting a full-time education in a private day school. 8 counts match the number of forms that he submitted to register Sandcastle Day School and City Day School. He named himself as the principal. The Turpins face up to 94 years in prison on child abuse and other charges.
Breaking news in Hawaii, where 2 big earthquakes hit the Big Island as it copes with one of the world's most active volcanoes, spewing ash and red-hot lava. A magnitude 6.9 quake just struck on the south side of the Kilauea volcano. About 2 miles from that, a magnitude 5.4 quake hit. Roads are cracking because of the intense heat and shaking. More than 1,500 people living nearby have been told to get out.
We could hear the lava exploding. We had to evacuate my mother without any portable oxygen, so that's the first concern. She's 88 years old.
Here's the time-lapse video of the lava lake inside the volcano's crater. Experts are concerned the magma could travel underground and threaten homes miles away. The National Guard is on alert.
Amazing pictures there. Let's go to some breaking news right now. We're told of a brush fire in Acton.
We can see active flames. Stu Mundell is live in Sky 2 with the latest. Stu.
Pat, Jeff, we just got the update. They're saying 4 to 5 acres right now. It's going to be in some light brush out here. This is in the Acton area, very close to Bootlegger Canyon and Soledad Canyon. Those are the major intersections out here. Now, there are a couple of homes in the area. They are concerned about that. That was the first thing LA County Fire was talking about when they first arrived here on scene. They said that there was at least 1 structure threatened. You can see LA County Fire, one of their helicopters making a drop out there. There may be 2 helicopters out here from LA County Fire doing drops right now, and of course you've got crews on the ground as well. We understand they're LA County Fire being joined by the Angeles Forest Service. You guys see some of the green trucks down there. Right now the crews are just getting here on scene. Light winds though would make this fire easier to fight for them, and that seems to be the going thing right now for them. But right now, a lot of active flames, and it is moving towards at least some structures out here in Acton. Live in Sky 2, I'm Stu Mundell. Back to you 2 in the studio.
Stu, thank you so much. Well, this week's motorhome chase was like a scene from a TV thriller. A sex offender behind the wheel with his 2 children inside. Tonight, we're learning how his capture finally came to an end. A photo shows the moment that detectives took down Stephen Houck. He had hopped a train from Bakersfield to Barstow. Investigators say after that he ditched the RV. Houck did then hide in some brush, shaved his head, and got food from a homeless shelter, and then hopped the freight train. Tips led police to Barstow, where they finally cornered him.
There's an actual compartment. There's a space where he was laying down.
Tonight, Houck faces 14 felony counts, including kidnapping with a firearm. If he is convicted, he could be sentenced up to 75 years behind bars.
Well, tonight there are serious allegations against Loma Linda Veterans Medical Center. A whistleblower complained accuses the medical center of covering up a Legionnaire's disease outbreak. The complaint was filed by a group of its own doctors and nurses.
Yeah, more than a dozen whistleblowers accuse that medical center of putting patients at risk, as well as failing to protect the welfare of its employees and visitors. Federal officials are now investigating. The VA denies those allegations.
A day after we learned 27 more women accused former CBS This Morning host Charlie Rose of sexual misconduct, 3 of them are now suing him. Catherine Brooks Harris, Sydney McNeil, and Chelsea Way, all ex-CBS News employees, claim Rose sexually touched them, kissed them on the cheek, and suggested they become lovers. Way says he referred to her as China Doll. Harris and McNeil also claim Rose fired them after 8 women came forward last year with their accusations. The 3 women argue CBS executives were warned but failed to respond. CBS News President David Rhodes says the company is not done looking into this matter.
Well, today President Trump fired up the crowd during his speech at the National Rifle Association convention in Texas.
And after being welcomed on stage by NRA executives and his son Donald Trump Jr., the president launched into his attack on the Russia probe, Democrats, and the need for Republicans to do well in the midterm elections. He also talked about protecting the Second Amendment and arming teachers to protect students from gun violence.
There is no stronger deterrent for a sick individual than the knowledge that their attack will end their life and will end in total failure. When they know that, they're not going in. You're not going to have school attacks.
The president also thanked rap star Kanye West. President Trump says as a result of West's endorsement, his approval rating among African Americans has since doubled.
Take 2 for President Trump's new lawyer. 2 days after Rudy Giuliani revealed the president personally repaid his lawyer Michael Cohen that $130,000 paid to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, the former New York mayor clarified some things.
Yeah, today Giuliani says first, there is no campaign violation. The payment was made to resolve a personal and false allegation in order to protect the president's family. Second, my references to timing were not describing my understanding of the president's knowledge, but instead my understanding of these matters. This morning, the president had this to say.
So Rudy knows it's a witch hunt. He started yesterday. He'll get his facts straight. He's a great guy.
The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee says, based on Giuliani's earlier comments, there should be an investigation into whether the president broke federal ethics laws by not reporting the payment.
A popular cosmetics company is hit with a lawsuit over its eyelash enhancer.
Why they're now facing fraud charges.
In a local elementary school, and a student there stabbed at school, and police are now questioning a fellow student. What we have learned tonight.
Also, are kids being put at risk by rideshare companies? What our 2 on your side hidden investigation uncover.
And problems with pelicans. The local wildlife center is packed with a dozen sick pelicans. They're trying to figure out exactly what's going on.
And we're getting a look outside right now. A serious warm-up heading our way as we head into the weekend. I'll have your weekend forecast when we come back.
Breaking news where crews are working to contain a brush fire in Acton.